Yeah, good evening, friends. The topic of the day is water demand in Delhi, whether the demand is soaring or whether there is an actual scarcity or whether this is an artificial scarcity created due to mismanagement. Now, we have been spending a lot of time in looking at these things. If you recall your journey in life, you must have heard all along that India resides in its villages, that 80% of Indian population lives in the villages. But the censuses of 2001 and 2011 have shown that this is no longer true. India is urbanizing very rapidly. And the 2011 census shows that at least 5 states are now more than 50% urban. So we are going to need a lot of water in our urban areas. The number of settlements is also increasing very rapidly. Now, how does the picture reflect in Delhi? Delhi is a bit of a surprise. In the decades in the past, if you look at the census of 91 and at the census of 2001, the decadal growth of population was at the rate of 40%. In 2001 to 2011, this has dipped very sharply to only just 20%. All planning was being done on the basis that Delhi's population 2011 would be somewhere around 19 or 20 million. But the actual picture is that the population of Delhi has not grown at the same pace as before. It turned out to be only about 16.7 million. Now, this is a result of several factors. Even things like metro have an impact. People live outside Delhi, even if they work over here. Bihar is far better governed than before, so we have lesser migrants. Schemes like Nariga are putting de-acceleration on the number of people coming in. The various regulations on industries have ensured that industry has more or less moved out of Delhi. There are several other such factors which have retarded the growth of the population of Delhi and which will continue to prevail for quite a long time. So the studies show that by about 2031, Delhi's population would stabilize at about 25 million at best. And that is after taking a fair amount of margin. Now, if we look at the standards of supply which have been set out, there are a number of norms as to how much water a person needs per day. But the most useful norm is that of the Central Public Health Organization, and that comes to around 172 liters per person per day, LPCD, liters per capita per day. Now, if this is taken as a standard for planning, Delhi needs somewhere around, at most, 1,000 million gallons of water per day for a population of 25 million. As on date, Delhi is getting, as per the DJB's own figures, they are supplying 830 million gallons per day. And after the parallel carrier, that is the carrier which is bringing water from Tajewala, Yamuna water to Delhi, once that is lined so that there are no seepage losses, we would have available to us 930 MGD, 930 million gallons per day. So we are already having what we require in the years to come. That is at a macro scale. So if the short answer to the question whether there is a scarcity, I do not think we actually have a scarcity. And there are many ways in order to maximize this fixed amount of water. If we had no increase in supply, even then the norm can come down further. The leakages in the system, which amount to about 40%, can be brought down very drastically. To a country like Cambodia, in its capital has achieved a leakage level of just 5%. Singapore has that, France has that. The national water policy sets out that our target should be around 15%. So if that is going to be the case, the population is bound to be shortchanged, because we may claim that we have 930 mgd, but the actual supply reaching the end of the pipe is about 600 mgd. And that is why the population has recourse to pumping of groundwater in order to supplement all these losses. And that is how Delhi is actually losing out by depleting its aquifers, which are its only internal source and which will be the buffer in any crisis. I can give you examples of 2 or 3 years. 1987, which was a complete drought year, with only one rainfall on the 27th of September of that year. 2002, which was also a similar deficient year. And in between, we have had deficient years of lesser acuteness. And this year also shows some of the same prognosis. Everybody had got alarmed this year. Now, in such a situation, Delhi's groundwater will be its only buffer. And this is a buffer which has fast depleted. Now, if the water leakages are prevented, this buffer would build up very rapidly. So the short answer, once again, I do not think we have a scarcity. We have adequate water. It's more a question of management. Now, we cannot blame the authorities alone for this mismanagement. A lot of us in the public are also responsible for using water very profligately. I can give you an example. I think there are more than 1 million cars in Delhi, and I think every car is getting washed perhaps every day. If we take that simple calculation and 2 buckets per vehicle, that itself comes to something like 15 million gallons per day on car washing. Okay, so there are many things where the citizens can do to curb their demand, and this will have to be the order of the day. The usual thinking is, how can we increase supplies? Can we get water from Nuka Dam? Can we get water from the Lakhwar Vyasi dams? Building more dams is becoming more and more difficult by the day. And if we think that we'll get more supplies and solve our problem, then what we can do over here is not what we will do. We will never curb our profligacy. So I think we must first curb our own demand and then only think of dipping our hands into other pockets. This, I think, is the direction where we should be heading. And I think we need to concentrate far more on managing our systems and our use of water. Thank you.